All right, here we go. It's another nightcap. This time, it's not midnight yet. Okay, we're just had to check. It's the 15th of February. The nightcap, as always, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken. Visit www.galacticfriedchicken.com. Download the app for Android, iPhone, everything Galactic. That is where now you can order delivery, you can order your carry out, or you can stop in. If you stop in to the Dayton location, tell them pump it up, and you'll get 15% off. Oh, Memphis 81-74 Cincinnati. We'll start with the good stuff, Aaron. That was by far the best uniform combo that you will see in the country all season. Memphis went throwback as well with their blue Memphis State uniforms. Cincinnati had the Cats from the 70s, had the 70s theme all night tonight. And you will not find a game this year that has two uniforms as sweet as what you saw tonight in Cincinnati. That was
super. I mean, it was super cool too as a fan to take it in from the scoreboard where they were doing it. Like I remember where it was the old Shoemaker Center where they had the bulbs for all of your scoring needs.
Yeah, that shit messes with me because I'm very like ritualistic and like where I look for my information as games are happening. And that was all jacked up tonight. So I didn't have my normal like if I'm, looking for something, all right, how many fouls, how many timeouts? That screwed me up. And so I like the nostalgia of it. The look was great. It was fine with me. But from a selfish standpoint, it threw off my work routine, which is probably why they lost because my work routine was off.
That was it. But as a fan, it was still super cool to look up and kind of get that breath of nostalgia and get to take that in. But yeah, no, as a guy taking in everything else, I'm not sure that they could have done much more.
No, the cheerleader uniforms were top notch. I don't think whoever, so basically what the cheerleaders wore tonight were the yoga pants made into tops. And I want to shake the hand of whoever invented that, whoever came up with that. That was a layup waiting to happen. We've never seen that before, and it was good. 81-74, like I said. Memphis dominated the first half. They scored 16 points by the under 16 media stop, and when your opponent scores 16 points in right around 4.5 minutes, it's a sign that your defense is still struggling, and that is going like it's interesting that this is happening right now because it's happening as kind of UC's entering this stretch of rapid fire games because of games being moved. This Memphis game obviously moved because of the ice storm from a couple weeks ago into this slot on a Tuesday night, right in between a Saturday, Tuesday, now Thursday. Wichita State comes to town, and then Sunday, Temple is in town. So you don't get a lot of practice time right now to really get in the gym and get things fixed. I'm sure Wes would have loved, 2 or 3 days dedicated to breaking down the Tulsa tape and figuring out what was wrong and getting in the gym and really working on fixing what is plaguing this team defensively. But I like was mentioned after the game, going into the Houston game, this was a top 25 defense, top 20 defense on KenPom. And the South Florida game, they were okay, but let's face it, South Florida's offense is dreadful. But against Houston, against Tulsa, and now against Memphis, the Cincinnati defense has not been up to snuff. And this is the fourth. I don't know that I've seen this. I don't remember seeing this. I think it's something I would remember seeing from a Cincinnati team. And maybe it happened last year. Everything was just so screwy last year. But they've given up 50% shooting from the field in each of the last 4 halves. That's not Cincinnati basketball. That's not Wes Miller basketball. So it's disturbing to see that become a trend because that's not what this program's about, and you can tell it's something that's driving Wes Miller crazy right now.
As I'm sure it is, and as well it should be. But in the first half, they gave up 18 to 34, 52.94%. Second half, they gave up 13 of 24, 54.17%. On that same scale, if we're looking at that though, like Cincinnati went from 1 of 10 from 3 to 6 of 19, and that made a big difference in the second half.
Yeah, that's why they were able to outscore them. That and the biggest difference in the second half, offensive rebounding.
Yeah. Correct. I mean, they went from 5 of 30 from offensive rebounds to defensive rebounds in the entire game to 16 to 23 for Cincinnati at the end of the game. That made a huge difference. And I can't see the offensive rebounds as they go from half to half, but
yeah, you had too much fun at the game. You're struggling with sharing statistical information right now. The big thing for me, and this jumped out at me as I was kind of like getting my notes together towards the end of the game. First half, Cincinnati had 6 offensive rebounds, 3 second chance points. Second half, Cincinnati had 10 offensive rebounds, 18 second chance points. And for the game, they outscored Memphis 21-2 second chance points. They out-rebounded them on the offensive glass 16-5. So that was kind of the biggest difference in the second half, what changed from the first half to the second half. Jeremiah Davenport, I thought, had his best, if we're going player of the game, Jeremiah Davenport, I thought, had his best overall game as a Cincinnati Bearcat. He scored 20 points. He was 8 of 13 from the floor, 4 of 7 from 3, 11 rebounds, his first 20 and 10 games, so 20 and 11, had 5 offensive rebounds in 31 minutes. Think about this, Aaron. In 31 minutes in a game that Cincinnati trailed by 17 at half, Jeremiah Davenport was +9 when he was on the floor. So in the 9 minutes, they lost by 7. They were 16 points. Memphis beat them by 16 points in the 9 minutes Jeremiah Davenport wasn't on the floor. That's significant. Like, I don't put a ton of weight in plus minus, but the team was significantly better with Jeremiah Davenport on the floor. The other thing I think really stood out to me.
Well, before you even get to that point,
you don't what?
I'm just saying, before you even get to that point, there were so many people saying that he shouldn't be on the floor anymore. Like
so many people don't know what they're talking about.
Then go on.
The other point I was going to get to, teams have kind of picked on him defensively. They've gone at him quite a bit, and we've seen the other teams 4 really have a lot of success. We didn't see that tonight. DeAndre Williams, who's since he's returned from injury, has been fantastic for Memphis over the past 5 games. He only managed 8 points. He was efficient. He was 3 of 5 from the floor. He hit both of his threes. He had 8 rebounds. But in 23 minutes, it was not a like we're going right at Jeremiah Davenport. I thought Jeremiah did a really good job helping contain DeAndre Williams. The problem being the guy behind DeAndre Williams might be Memphis's, if not their most talented, their second most talented player in Josh Minott. 10 points, 5 of 6 from the floor, 6 rebounds in 15 minutes. Like, that dude is such a difference changer for them because nobody really has an answer for him.
But the fact that Tyler Harris continues to be a problem is kind of scary for this team. He seems to be like 5'8"?
He's their best shooter. It's not close.
But
Cincinnati twice left him wide open.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but he was the guy who left Memphis. and
went to Iowa State and came back. Yeah.
Came back to Memphis. Like this is the Ben Bryant. If anybody wants to compare like Ben Bryant stories, how is this not the Ben Bryant story?
Because Tyler Harris played a significant role at Memphis when he was a freshman, but there was a coaching change. So he left for a year and then he came back home. Like it doesn't really have much to do with Ben Bryant just because he left and came back. They didn't send him down to the minors for a year to get seasoning. He went to the Big 12 for a year and then came back.
Didn't hear you correct, Dave, this way on Thursday, but I'm just saying.
Okay. We're talking about something completely different. I don't think it's a similar Ben Bryant situation because Tyler Harris's situation was different. It was more of a coaching change thing than it was.
I don't know. I think he just made it the comeback story. And
well, the thing with Tyler Harris was his freshman year, he played 18 minutes a game and he wasn't happy with his playing time. Think about that. A freshman plays 18 minutes a game and they're like, oh, this ain't for me.
I guess at 22, it makes a world of difference.
Yeah, he's getting, but anyway, he's a problem because he's their floor spacer and he's undersized, yes, but if you leave him just standing alone, he made three pointers. Two of them were standing wide open with nobody within 20 feet of him in like a secondary break, where Cincinnati had all their defenders past half court. Nobody tagged the best shooter on Memphis, and they just threw him the ball, and he rose up, and he hit two like critical threes. Cincinnati lost by 7.
They didn't play
those 2 threes.
They played horrible transitional defense tonight.
Yeah, Memphis is a lot more talented. So it's the thing with Memphis, like you have a guy like Malcolm Dandridge, who's 6'9", maybe hasn't lived up to the hype when he got to college. But he plays like 6 minutes a game. That kid would play 22 minutes a game here right now, and he's like their 9th or 10th guy. Like that's where, right now things are a little off kilter for Cincinnati. That Memphis team, talent-wise, top to bottom, their roster is ridiculous. And credit to Cincinnati for the fight that they showed in the second half. With the downturn that they're in, and you come out and you get punched in the mouth like they did in the first half, it's real easy to go into halftime and go, you know what? Not our day. Not our day. We'll get them again. We'll get them Thursday.
They got to close.
Instead, this team came out and fought their ass off in the second half. So you have to give them a lot of credit for that. But you also have to acknowledge the first half still happened. And the first half was not good. They were aggressive. They double teamed, and they made Cincinnati look bad in that first half. Look at the first half. They shot 26% from the floor, 10% from 3, and 7 of their 11 turnovers were in the first half. That's how you get your ass kicked.
I don't know. I guess if you're trying to be pessimistic, if you're trying to be Brent Young as you look at this game, the one takeaway you have from this game is the fact that they were down 17 in the first at half, and they made it a game.
Yeah, that's what I just said. Like
I'm
get a lot of credit. They get a lot of credit for the fight they showed in the second half. They scrapped, they fought, and it wasn't like they were super hot in the second half. They were 44% from the floor and 31% from 3. Like it wasn't like they came out and shot 54% from the floor and 60% from 3, but they still scored 48 points.
I think it was the fact that like guys that don't normally make buckets, like Mike Saunders hitting some threes, like Odi Oguama taking it to the rack and slamming it home. Like there were some things that happened in the second half that we haven't seen, if all things being honest.
Yeah, I mean, they need more help from their support. The guys around. Look, Davenport and DeJulius are clearly, upper level players, scorers in this league. Everybody else around them needs to play better. They need to be better offensively. We're still John Newman, only 3 points. Like we need to see more from John Newman. you got 5 from Victor, but all of them from the free throw line. 0 of 3 from the floor. The best part for Victor, maybe 10 minutes, no turnovers today. Turnovers have been a big problem for Vic. So, I mean, overall, you hate losing at home, but when you watch that game play out, it really wasn't much of a question of who had more talent on the floor between the two teams. Like,
it was just
Memphis was significantly more talented.
Which I think is where you can take solace as a fan of the team and say that we brought it within 5, 4 there within the second half.
Yeah, I think it got down to as low as 4. Might have been 5. Let me check. Yeah, 8 minutes left. It was down to 4 on the OD dunk.
I think that's a big deal for this team.
Yeah.
That's a big deal for this team, though. To with this kind of a team who's playing at this level, just came off of a Houston win. I don't know,
but here's the problem, and we've seen this a couple times here of late. We saw it against Houston at the beginning of the second half. We saw it against Tulsa for most of the second half. You get it to 4, right? And then Duren scores to push it to 6.
There's no finish.
They get the alley-oop to Duren to push it to 8. And then Duren scores again. So he scored all 6 points in that stretch. And what was a 4-point game with 8:15 remaining is now a 10-point game with 5:33 remaining. So they've got to do a better job once you get like within where, all right, like they've got to sit down and defend, Aaron. Like that's, again, it's what we keep coming back to is they scratch and claw and they get it back to where they have a legitimate shot. And then the defense, like we talked the Houston game, remember they had it to 8 at the start of the second half. They miss a couple open threes, and next thing you know, it's 14. And
this team can't finish.
It's not even finishing. Like that was 8 minutes left. Like you have to sit down at some point and be able to get stops because obviously their offense was working. They cut it all the way down to 4, and you have a couple of empty trips. You can't continuously be in a situation where 2 empty trips means you go from down 4 to down 10. And that's what we keep seeing. Like that's where when I took like defense and like that mental, okay, we got it to 4. Now we got to sit our ass down and defend for 2 or 3 minutes so that we can take the lead. Not we got it to 4 and you kind of let your foot off the gas and your focus wanes a little bit and it's 10. And now all that work you did to get it from 17 to 4, now you're back down by 10. And that makes it almost impossible to regain that momentum. Like if you have that 3-minute stretch and it goes from 4 to 6, you're still okay. Like you trade a basket or 2 and you get a stop, and now it's 6 with 5 minutes left. You're still in great position there to come back and win the game, right?
So if you're coach, where do you go from here?
That's kind of the problem that I was hinting at. What you need to do is get 2 or 3 days in the gym to say, look, this shit on defense is not acceptable. Like we can't let this happen and we need to get better. They don't have days in the gym. They have tomorrow to get ready for Wichita State.
I was going to say that's, I think the problem after the last game where they let Tulsa go defensively is the fact that they don't have that time in the gym to get right to where you as if you were the coach, you would want them to get right too, is they don't have that time.
Yeah. I'm sorry. My wife is trying to mimic words to me while I'm in the middle of she's behind the screen going,
defense.
Yeah. That's what, yeah. The West's got to get their shit together on defense, Chad. I know.
All right. So how many minutes of this are we gonna? What's the over under on your wife joining us on the pod on Friday?
Pretty good at some point, I'm sure. I'm at some point I'm gonna like have to go to the
Yeah,
bathroom,
you're just
or
gonna hand her the headset, and I'm gonna be
I'm gonna have to take the dogs out.
stuck with your wife and figuring out things that I'm gonna talk with your wife about.
We could do Ask Kelly anything for like 15 minutes. I'm sure people would love like ask Kelly whatever about me, because she will rip me in half. Like she will crush me.
I may put a mailbag up for that actually on BCJ.
There's gonna be a couple times when Kelly has to step in. And let's get some Kelly questions ready for when she has to fill in for me.
I'm nervous about Friday. If I'm being honest, I'm totally nervous. I think because we're bringing in guys. Well, of course you're not. We're bringing in guys that I don't talk to on a normal day-to-day basis.
I do. So if you don't want to talk, you don't have to.
I'm gonna talk. Come on, man. I'm so nervous.
Just quit being a bitch, Aaron.
Get out of here. But it should be a fucking riot from start to finish. I think the people who are maybe less nervous than me don't know how much ridiculousness that may come out as we're filibustering. But I think that's
okay.
I think that
I'm okay with it. That's the difference. You're worried about the ridiculousness. No. I'm okay with it. I cherish it. I
want to sign in as I go from this seat to me picking up Galactic fried chicken at the door, and I want Shane to be the one delivering it to me as I bring Shane up into my apartment, and I'm like, yo, I got Galactic fried chicken. Here's Shane. I think that might be fun, but I don't know. We'll see what we can work out.
All right. Well, we're a ways in here. It's especially without Abdul Ado tonight. You knew it was going to be tough. It was tough. Credit to Cincinnati for fighting back and doing everything they could to make a game of it, and came up short. That's it's the breaks sometimes. And we had some fun with I'm Mad, Tweet at Chad during the game. It's one of my favorite segments of social media right now.
Can't wait to dive into that.
Oh, there were people like, why won't Wes use his timeouts? And I was like, he called 2 timeouts in the first 10 minutes. Like, you wanted to call all 4 in the first half? What if they come back in the second half?
All the timeouts.
All of the time. Use all of the timeouts. Now. Use them.
Now.
That wasn't going to stop the ass kicking that was happening in the first half.
Listen, I had to actually like calm some people down from the upper deck. Like, fuck you, Wes Miller, get out of here. Like, I'm literally calming down old heads. I'm like, I'm not on your level alcoholically, but I'm gonna do my best.
You are definitely on their level alcoholically. You alcoholically had a very good night.
Wasn't even true, but thank you.
How many $2 fat tires did you drink at Mia's?
3.
Lie.
Swear. Just got caught off guard. How many
shots?
I just got caught off guard on my way out by dealing with an old head.
All right, that's gonna wrap it up. We will we'll be back with the BCJ podcast tomorrow. A nightcap tomorrow night. Wichita State's the Fifth Third Arena on Thursday, and then Friday noon to midnight, right here on this YouTube channel. Subathon. Luke Fickle, Lenny Stokes, Steve Logan, Cashmere Wright, maybe Kevin Johnson.
Couple guys that are currently on the roster. We'll see on the Bearcats football roster. For that matter.
Maybe we've got a lead on maybe some football players. Jeff Gentle is going to join us. It's opening day for Bearcat baseball, so that we'll be able to follow that Bearcat baseball game like live.
A whole ton of shit going on.
That's going to be a fun Friday, noon to midnight.
Can't wait. 12 giveaways.
we got 12 giveaways coming from 513 shirts. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. So make sure you're there Friday and stick with us all week. We got a bunch of content coming as always. He's Aaron Smith. I'm Chad Brendel. It's a Galactic Fried Chicken Nightcap right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See ya!